Good afternoon. The Board of Trustees of the Harris County Department of Education is now convened in our board meeting on today, Wednesday, May 17th, 2023, in the boardroom at 6300 Irvington Boulevard, Houston, Texas, and it is now 1:12 p.m. I wish to extend a warm welcome to everyone present to this meeting of the Board of Trustees. As trustees, we are here to set goals, listen to a report from the superintendent, approve budgets, contracts, personnel appointments, and make policy for the district. It is not the role of the board to make day-to-day operational decisions. The management and day-to-day operations of the department are the responsibility of the superintendent. We have policies and procedures in place to resolve concerns and issues. This is a meeting of the Board of Trustees, not a meeting of the public. Prior to this meeting, board members received information related to items on today's agenda. Agenda items will not necessarily be handled in the order listed on the notice. The meeting is open to all who wish to attend and hear the matters discussed. During the course of this meeting, the board may determine that a closed session is necessary. In that event, the board will meet in closed session to consider items duly posted for this meeting as permitted by section 551.071 to 551.084, inclusive of the Texas Government Code. I respectfully ask that you please refrain from talking while others are speaking and that cell phones are turned off or in silent mode. Thank you for taking time today to join us and for your interest in the Harris County Department of Education. We will begin with the invocation led by Donald Mims of the Records Management Department. Mr. Mims.
Shall we bow? Eternal Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the Harris County Department of Education and the entire board staff. We ask your blessings over this meeting. In your name we pray, amen.
The pledges to the U.S. and Texas flags will be led by Jasmine Booker, the Center for Educator Success. Ms. Booker.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Reverend Mims and Ms. Booker for leading us in the invocation and the pledges. Looks like we have no one signed up to speak during our open forum, so we will move along to our reports, starting with Employee of the Month, led by Natasha Truitt, our Executive Director of Human Resources.
Good afternoon. Today we are honoring Hisham Al-Hasbari, a service desk analyst in our Information Technology Services Division, as the May 2023 Employee of the Month. Hisham is often called the IT Whisperer. According to Vanita Peacock, Senior Director of Head Start, who nominated Hisham for the award, Hisham has the uncanny ability to understand what a division wants, even when they cannot clearly articulate it themselves. He translates a division's vision into a technology reality and does so with a smile and willing attitude. Ms. Peacock said that Hisham has been instrumental in helping Head Start host hybrid meetings with their policy council. He checks in before, during, and after the meetings to ensure the technology is running smoothly and the meeting is a success. Hisham performed these same tasks with the Head Start Federal Review, except he managed it over the course of a full week, dealing with several devices and various people in multiple locations. Ms. Peacock said his support was integral to having a positive review process. Hisham is often able to identify solutions to problems, even when he doesn't always have the answer right away. He is committed to finding the best solution to the varied technical issues divisions encountered, and is known for researching methods and bringing in additional IT support when needed. Hisham is always ready and willing to help, and no request is too small or silly. He makes every division feel like a priority with top-notch professionalism and service. Many HCDE divisions have commented on his service-minded mentality and his outstanding level of support. When this attitude of service is combined with Hisham's knowledge, the experience, they say, is almost magical. Our comms team has prepared a short video highlighting Hisham's accomplishments and customer service mindset.
Yeah, let me see what's going on. I'm gonna remote into your machine.
I'm the service desk analyst too. Pretty much I do a little bit of everything in IT.
A little over 10 years ago, I was hired as a service desk manager. Hisham was a contractor at the time, but we had the opportunity to bring that contractor position as a full-time position. And Hisham was a very hard worker, very intelligent guy.
Each year, HCD send a survey to employee. What do you like about IT services? You give your feedback, and one of the comments say, hire Hisham.
I hired him right on the spot.
Every conference that we have here at HCDE, every presentation that's made here, every professional development session that's given here, Hisham, if you look around the room, Hisham is behind the scenes supporting those events. If he doesn't have the solution, he will go find the solution, and that's one of the things I absolutely love about Hisham.
I can be a little flighty sometimes, like, oh my God, is this gonna, what's happening, why is this not happening? But he's always even keeled, and his demeanor adjusts my demeanor because I just feel like it's gonna be okay because he's gonna make sure it's okay.
I always liked the education field. My father was a teacher. Two of my brothers, they are teachers. My sister, she worked in the college, so she's the administrative assistant. But for me, I have big passion to, technology. Even though I have a bachelor's degree in linguistics, I just decided to go back to school and study computer science. I'm in the center of Morocco. It's a small city called Beni Mellal. I was born and raised there all my entire life. So when I finished college, I moved to Casablanca. I worked there for 5 years before I moved here. Diversity Immigration Visa Program. Basically, you apply in the government website, and you you will be selected at random by a computer. I didn't hesitate to come, even if my life's gonna change upside down because all my family is back there. I used to it, but the thing that encouraged me to go, I say, okay, I don't need to learn a new language. I already speak the language. I already work in technology field, so I'm gonna just deepen my skills. I was engaged when I get selected, so my fiance was there. I moved here and I asked her to apply. And 2 years, and she was picked. So that's why we consider ourselves lucky, and Houston now is our home.
This 1, 2.
Hisham is the type of guy
Mic check.
who you can count on 110%. He's the guy you wish is your next door neighbor.
Hisham is so good. He makes you feel that you're the only person that he supports. But I know that the support that he provides to me, that he provides that type of service to everybody that calls on him. He always responds.
Just grateful of my team, the technology department, because without them, I couldn't do my job well. I always feel that I'm part of something good.
I'm pleased to introduce our May Employee of the Month, Hisham Al-Habari.
Thank you.
I know. Probably he's been supporting the drill for quite some time. That'd have been funny. Right.
Can you squeeze in for me just a little? Thank you. There you go. Perfect. 1, 2. One more. Right.
They asked me to fix my phone.
I just want to say that, Hisham demonstrates and models the type of excellence that we have throughout all of HCDE. One of my pet peeves is I have to speak a lot, and I can't stand for the microphone not to work. I mean, everybody disappears when that microphone stops working. I get hot. Hisham will change the batteries in that microphone. If I have to speak on Tuesday, I'll have fresh new batteries in it. And then I'll come back on Wednesday, he's gonna change the batteries again because he's gonna make sure that microphone works. He wants to make sure everything's okay, and he'll be in the back of the room and he'll go thumbs up like, you good, now I can leave? And so, it's that type of excellence and people taking pride in their work that allows us, all of us, to be confident that we know we're in good hands. And I'm happy that we have people like Hisham and all the colleagues that work with you who honor their duties and try to master their craft and love being a part of HCDE. So congratulations, Hisham. And he was truly embarrassed by all of this. He didn't want to get any of this stuff. So thank you.
Yes, congratulations, Hisham. Great job. And the next presentation, HCDE Teacher and Educational Aid of the Year recognition. LaToya Duckworth, Teacher ABS East, and Martha Ruiz, Educational Aid ABS East, by Jonathan Parker.
Okay, Mitzi, where are you? Okay, all right, stand by. Good afternoon, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Colbert, General Counsel Langlois. I'm here today to present the HCDE 2023 Teacher of the Year, Ms. LaToya Duckworth. Let's give her a hand. Stand up, please. And our 2023 HCDE Educational Aid of the Year, Ms. Martha Ruiz. So let's give her a hand. And in a minute, I'll have them to come up and take a picture with the board. I believe Dr. Ned has some gifts as well. But before we bring them up, let me just share with everybody that each campus submitted their Teacher of the Year and their Educational Aid of the Year. And so these two individuals competed, and they were the winners for all 4 schools. They are representing all of our schools as our Teacher of the Year and Educational Aid of the Year. So let's learn a little bit about them.
We employ some outstanding people here within the Harris County Department of Ed Schools Division.
This is LaToya Duckworth, HCDE's Teacher of the Year.
I was thrilled.
And this is Martha Ruiz, the Educational Aid of the Year.
Yeah, I was really in shock.
Thrilled and shocked after they were surprised with these accolades.
It's really important to recognize teachers and paraprofessionals for their hard work because they're the ones who are boots on the ground.
To me, being able to not only meet and interact with our staff, but also being able to highlight and acknowledge the quality of the work, it's very special and meaningful.
The ABS East staff nominated these 2 ladies. They then were selected to represent all of HCDE after a panel interview.
Everything I heard during the interviews basically let us know that they are helping these kids grow and blossom, so I couldn't ask for more.
During the panel interview, they were asked their why.
My why is for my son. That's why I'm getting emotional. My son, he was diagnosed with autism.
As a mother, Martha advocated for her autistic son and began working at his school before coming to ABS East.
I've always put in him that autism doesn't define you. You define autism. And I bring that to our students here. I always let them know, like, your disability is not who you are. You are a better person. You could be better, you could be great.
LaToya's personal story of being a student with behavioral issues allows her to better relate to her students.
It was very personal because I was able to talk about me being a behavior student and where I am today. I want to say thank you to let them know this is where I come from and this is why I'm here. I wanted to make sure that they knew this is not just for a paycheck or to say I have a job. This is a passion. This is what I do. This is who I am.
Putting their personal experiences to use, helping the students of ABS East.
Ms. Ruiz and Ms. Duckworth, they hit a grand slam. And so I am just so happy for them. I'm excited for them and for their families too, because they really deserve this.
Okay, so at this time, Ms. Duckworth and Ms. Ruiz, would you guys please come forward? I think Dr. Ned wants to give you something.
There's a couple of people in this photograph that is no longer with us. One retired, the lady up front in the blue shirt, if you can see her, she retired. And another lady moved on. Actually, two ladies moved on to other employment. And Julian Guerrero is now in college at U of H. So we kind of hope to see him in a couple, 3 years from now. Maybe he'll come back to records and run the division. All righty. Did it come? There we go. Last year we did an annual, 30-year celebration with a lot of our customers came out and celebrated with us. We were able to give out some awards to customers, some of the customers that have been with us for 30 years and some of the newer customers. So we pretty much had a good time last year. Good food, and we had a pretty good time at that celebration. This is the staff that was there then. Okay. Of course, about us, we travel Texas. So we're traveling as much as we can throughout Texas. Since we've been here, we started with about Harris County, Fort Bend County, Galveston County. Now, as you can see, that we're in 10 different counties now. We added Grimes County last year with Navasota ISD, and we also added Chambers County with Anahuac ISD. And we're in negotiations right now to add about 4 more counties within this year and next year. Still, some of the services that we provide, one of the main services why we still attract a lot of the ISDs and the government agencies to us because of the cost savings. Now, of course, inflation, prices still going up, but they're still coming to us because we are able to serve to save them a cost cut of probably 20 to 30% in some cases. Not in all cases, but in some cases. So right now we're in negotiations with Lamarck, City of Lamarck, to do a pretty big digital, converting all their records to digital. Some of the other services that picked up last year was our bin services. Now, I'm really not sure how this got out. I think I'm going to congratulate my operations manager, Anthony Washington, for promoting our bin services. You know, we started with HCC. They want to do a lot of rotations in shredding bins every year, and now we're in probably all of the districts, the city of Houston. We just have to tell the city of Houston that we're not trash people because they want them for everything. Here's a list of some of the ISDs and the clients that we have with us now. And I think I read back when we started business, at least 12 of the ISDs has been with us for 30, 31 years. and never left. And of course, we add more every year, and we haven't, the only one that we say we lost them at one time, and they went to the commercial world, and 3 years later, they came right back. All right, some of the web portal that we have a new design on our web portal. We kind of put it as a dashboard here now. We used to have the old web where you kind of read through it. Now you just click the picture, and the picture will take you to the function that you need and complete your services. All of our services is on the web. All of our customers have access to the web, and they're able to do all of the functions through the web. So we kind of limit the calls that we get only for training. We get a lot of training calls with the turnover from last year. Okay, here we go. Here's some highlights here. So last year, our electronic web orders were a little higher, about 1,000 electronic web orders higher. It went down a little bit because we're doing a lot of training. A lot of turnover, a lot of retirements last year in the district, so we're doing a lot of training right now, and that number will go right back up. So we're doing a lot of manual orders until we get that number up. Drop down to the images scanned. Last year we had a little under 2 million. Now we're a little above. We're almost at 2.5 million scanned images. And this coming year, we're on a project right now that may not double, but it's going to definitely increase probably about 30–40%. And those are really good numbers. The only numbers right now that I'm concerned about is the box destroy. Those numbers are getting higher every year because the ISDs are now cleaning out old inventories and really cleaning them out. So some are going digital, which is good for us, but they're really removing a bunch of the old box inventories finally and cleaning out and bringing in new. We may not get as many new, but we'll get a lot of digital work out of it. So that's the good thing about that. Some of the key highlights that we have, again, we have over 2.4 million images scanned last year. Big thing that I'm very proud of, we renewed all of our contracts. We kind of had a couple of them hold off for a minute, but they came through at the last minute. Aldine kind of held off for a minute, but then they came back through and say, we'll stay with you guys. All right, so we love that because, of course, that's consistent and continuous business for us. The trends right now in the entire industry is a lot of digital work going on. Just a lot of people that are taking those old files, that backlog, and making it all digital, getting rid of all the old paper, certifying some system or some program where they can come back and say, okay, this is going to work for 10 years, and we can get rid of the paper right now. And that's throughout the entire industry, commercial, any industry out there. Any questions?
I would just like to say I'm actually going to do a correction.
Go ahead.
Now, you said that the primary reason why school districts work with us was cost savings, anywhere from 20 to 30%. I would add to that I think that they also work with you because of service and reliability.
Yes.
Because I can assure you that if you were giving them a cost savings of 80%, but losing all their files, you would not have their business.
Very true.
So it's the responsiveness. I think it's the service. I would add to that now, it would be the reputation,
yes,
the reliability, and the cost savings. And so your crew does an excellent job. That's why every year your numbers have never gone down, they've gone up.
Yes.
And we represent really almost all of the school districts with the exception of 22.
22.
With the exception of 3.
Yes. Yes.
And that's a testament to the quality of your staff. So for that, we appreciate you.
Thank you.
Also, I'm going to go back to the superintendent's report. I failed to mention that we have a graduation ceremony tomorrow with our ABS East campus at 12 o'clock. Is that what time? 9 o'clock. I don't have my glasses on, I'm sorry. So if you have an opportunity to attend that, do so. So thank you for your leadership, Mr. Davis. I appreciate you and your staff.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. The next annual division update will be from the Office of Secondary Education, Center for Educator Success. Leslie Gilmart?
Gilmart.
Gilmart. Thank you.
Good afternoon, trustees, Mr. Colbert, General Counsel. My name is Leslie Gilmart. I'm the Officer of Secondary Education at HCDE's Center for Educator Success. We are a young department at HCDE and have had a busy first year. Many thanks to you all for your belief in us and our potential impact. I'm honored to present an update on CES's progress. Allow me to introduce the members of the CES team. Team, as I say your name, please stand and stay standing. Jasmine Booker, Dr. Isaac Carrier, Dr. Maria Chavez, Dr. Jeremy Davis, Monica Goffney, Dr. Tariana Lamb, Dr. Cheney Ledette, Andrea Seagraves, Bethany Sullivan, Michelle Cavazos, Deborah Harris, Katona Myers, Rosa Murillo, and Amy Thompson. Thank you, team. We at CES believe that educators deserve top-notch learning opportunities. We are committed to the professional growth of the adults who give so much to the children of Harris County. Educators who are effective and thriving in their careers provide students with transformative experiences that shape their lives. To that end, we've been working together to innovate our educator certification programming so that the support our candidates receive goes above and beyond what the state of Texas requires. And we don't stop there. We also put on the beloved annual Early Childhood Winter Conference, which provides professional development and inspiration to the teachers of our youngest students. And speaking of experiences that shape students' lives, we coordinate the Scholastic Art and Writing Awards, which educators, students, and families throughout the region look forward to every year. Next, let's take a look at our key highlights from the past year. In the late spring of 2022, we were preparing for the official launch of the Center for Educator Success. Because CES strives to innovate in our approach to educator professional learning, who better to be our launch event keynote speaker than educator and author of The Innovator's Mindset, George Couros. Innovation is indeed a mindset, and Mr. Couros inspired and challenged our audience to constantly seek newer and better approaches in our work. Our launch event was a fantastic day of learning and celebration attended by educators from across the region. As we were preparing for our launch event, we were also hard at work planning and facilitating professional development for teacher candidates who had recently finished their coursework as part of our former certification program. These candidates had not had an opportunity for in-person learning due to COVID precautions. And we knew their future students needed teachers who had experienced rigorous, practice-heavy training. They spent 2 weeks with us at High Point last July, learning how to build a positive classroom culture, manage student behavior, and implement important lesson planning basics. At the end of the experience, they even had mock interviews with real principals to help them prepare for their job search. Several of the candidates were hired as a result of that opportunity. The summer intensive model received such positive feedback from candidates, we're doing it again this year. In the fall of 2022, CES launched our partnership with Spring ISD. Throughout the 22-23 school year, we have worked with a fantastic group of 13 teacher candidates. We've planned and facilitated their pre-service coursework and supported them in certification exam preparation. These candidates are on District of Innovation waivers, which means they started teaching full-time before having received training. We collaborated with Spring ISD to accommodate this new trend in teacher recruitment and hiring, adjusting our model to meet the needs of all stakeholders. Thanks to district and campus administrators who problem solved around class coverage, candidates were released every Wednesday for coursework, which helped make an especially challenging first-year teaching experience sustainable. Our pilot program was so well received by candidates and Spring ISD leaders alike that the word got out to other districts. We're thrilled to share that our teacher certification program for the 23-24 school year is at capacity due to the success of our pilot cohort in spring. Just last week, CES's teacher team visited our Spring ISD candidates and surprised them with teacher appreciation goodie bags. And Maritza from HCDE's comms team came along to capture the celebration. Please enjoy this video.
We are surprising them and just bringing by a little bag of goodies and some balloons. Come and join us.
How are you?
We are recognizing 13 candidates who are in our inaugural program where we have pushed into districts and are providing support during the actual school day for teachers once a week.
I was surprised with the awesome teacher appreciation gift by my cohorts at Harris County Department of Education.
And they have been working so hard. They've been with us every Wednesday since November.
I was actually very surprised and I was pretty nervous because I was not expecting visitors. When she said, "Oh, you have visitors," I was like, "Visitors? Who's coming to see me?"
Each one of them are built to do this. They have the heart and they have the vision and they love children. We have thoroughly enjoyed getting to know all 13.
I love the program. We've all bonded as friends and lifelong educators, so I'm very grateful for those relationships and those opportunities. So I'm really, really excited about it. I'm still excited.
We know they're going to be incredible teachers, and so we would just say, stay the course. You're in a really tough season right now, so we would just say, we believe in you, and keep up the good work.
In January, CES hosted the 37th annual R.T. Garcia Early Childhood Winter Conference. This was the conference's first year back in person after COVID. The theme was Permission to Feel, How Emotional Literacy Fuels Learning. Our keynote speaker, Dr. Mark Brackett, taught our audience of early childhood educators about the impact of fostering their own and their students' emotional literacy. This was an especially timely message as students and educators adjust to our new normal after the upheaval of the past several years. As you can see from the slide, ECWC was well attended and our audience was satisfied with the experience. We're already looking forward to hosting the 38th conference in 2024. Just 2 weeks ago, we capped off a successful Scholastic Art and Writing Awards season with a fantastic celebration at the Wortham Center's Cullen Theater. Houston area students submitted 13,000 art and writing works, and our team coordinated the adjudication of all of them. On the slide, you can see that students earned a plethora of awards and scholarships, both on the local and national levels. We're so grateful to our sponsors and donors who generously contributed to nurturing the talent of the students in our region. Planning the celebration to honor these exceptional students and their teachers was a collaboration with our wonderful communications department, grants department, and chief of staff. It was an elegant, joyful event, and we are very thankful to everyone who helped make it possible. The CES team has learned a lot over the past year, and we're already putting that learning to good use as we prepare for 2023-2024. Here are some of our takeaways. Our Spring ISD teacher cohort didn't launch until fall of 2022. From that experience, we learned that it's vital for our teacher candidates to start their learning in the summer. There's just so much they need to know and be able to do. A summer start allows them to begin planning for their students without feeling too rushed. The greatest obstacles to our teachers earning their certification are the rigorous state exams. This is a challenge in educator prep programs across Texas, so it's certainly a normal problem to have. Starting our program in the summer will allow us to work in meaningful test prep much earlier. We also offer educator advancement programming. We have a steady stream of folks who want to earn their principal certification with us, and we already partner with Channelview ISD to provide professional development to new administrators. We're excited to build on this programming in the coming year. We also continue to learn and reflect as we gain experience hosting our large events. With ECWC, we're asking the question, how do we keep this conference fresh and innovative? Our conference attendees gave us some great feedback, and we're using their insights to inform our 2024 conference. Regarding Scholastic, parents especially love this event and are constantly pushing us to level up. We found that leaning into the synergy that came about from collaborating across HCDE departments was deeply impactful. As I near my one-year anniversary at CES, I find myself reflecting on how complex and important our work is. In a rapidly changing education landscape that includes significant challenges around teacher retention and student success, the habits of mind that have most helped me navigate and lead our team through the past year include high expectations, a focus on clear communication, flexibility, empathy, a willingness to learn and change, and of course, an innovator's mindset. I believe that as long as the CES team stays anchored in these dispositions, our impact will be transformational. What a year. It's hard to believe that in addition to all those highlights I just shared, there's a lengthy list of subtler yet just as vital accomplishments. A few of them are included on this slide. We implemented quarterly district step backs with our partners that help us build our relationships and improve our communication. We've raised the visibility of CES in the area, and we work with important partners like CTAP and the Houston Endowment. In closing, the work we do at the Center for Educator Success is off to a great start. And it is truly a privilege to be part of this department that shows such promise in impacting educators and students. On a personal note, this is work I feel I was born to do, and I'm excited to see what the year ahead has in store. Trustees, Mr. Colbert, General Counsel, I again thank you for believing in CES and for allowing me to update you on our first year. What questions do you have?
I'd just like to make a statement. So this is a division that has a daunting task. Been charged with trying to identify the blind spots of public ed. And with any blind spot, they're difficult to see. It's the things that aren't often advocated for. It's the things that need attention that don't get it. It's the kids who need to be recognized who don't have a platform or a voice to get recognized. And so the challenge is that even when we find that blind spot, what do you do with it? And so this division has an audacious task. We have public education is in a place it's never been before in my career. We have people who are choosing not to major in the field of public education. With people fleeing and running from the profession, from the craft. We have, kids who don't have people advocating for them. And so one of the biggest new adventures that we're into is trying to help, encourage, attract, and even once we lure them in, to strengthen them and fortify them to be successful and future masters of the craft, so they stay with it. And that program that we're doing right now of alternative certification is in its infancy stages. but already districts are clinging to it, hoping that that's the next big, great solution. And so as we try to push them back to ensure that we maintain success and quality and we evolve with the problem itself, we also have to find a way to continue to meet the ever-changing need. And that's the task of CES. And it's not easy. Now, as you saw, the people who stood, those are our soldiers who are dialed in and ready to go. And they're fired up to try to address it, but it's always changing. And Dr. Rogers always gets a good pounding, you know, but make sure that he's trying to stay in tune to how that's changing too, to be able to meet the needs to help save the profession I care so much about. So I appreciate you, but more than anything, I appreciate your team for taking on the challenge that's been bestowed upon y'all. And you've succeeded this year, but next year I'm hoping it's even better. So thank you so much.
Thank you for those updates. And now, are there any reports from board members concerning attendance or participation in a board or HCD-related conference, event, activity, or committee? Trustee Norris.
So, as Superintendent Colbert mentioned, I got a chance to attend let me show you, it was the Scholastic, hold on, what's the title? Full title. I showed up, but I was like, it's the Scholastic, it's a long title, Dr. Rogers. The Arts Writing
Ceremony.
Yeah, it was a whole, it was really fancy this year. And it was at the Wortham Theater. It was like, you know, from what I understand, all kind of electeds were sending representatives to come check it out. And it was, you know, I barely draw a stick figure. There was some great art there. So for those, I was like, wow, these kids can really draw, because I'm, you know, not really my forte. But I was glad to see all those people, and it also reminded me Mr. Parker and I were sitting next to each other, and we were noticing that some of the teachers were the same teachers who were nominating students. So you could tell the teachers who were really dialed in. So it was good to see that, and was a very good look for HCDE, I think. The other thing, I got a chance to go get for the first time, I got a chance to meet my Head Start group. I've been doing it via Zoom the whole time, and this is the first time I got a chance to go in, and I was inundated. I forget, at 3 to 5 years old, how many hugs you get when you step in a room full of people. So one kid hugs you, the whole classroom hugs you. It's a great relief compared to my day-to-day. Most of my coworkers don't hug me very often, so I felt a good bit of love that I had, and my kids are not that age anymore. They don't hug me as much either. They're long past 3 and 5, so it was a good relief. And also the final thing, I had a chance to meet with a doctor. Let me make sure I say her name right. I'm messing up on names today. It's Dr. Kantana Moore. I'm sorry, Dr. Kianta Moore, Dr. Kianta Moore. And we met, I was referred to her via somebody else in the education space who said we needed to meet. And for the lawyers up here, this tells you a little bit about her. Imagine when you're in law school, you also get a medical degree. So she is an expert in health and public policy. So yeah, everybody, I wouldn't suggest it for sure. But she has done a number of work with a number of school districts around. Two things she brought to my attention that I thought would be very much something I thought that HCDE should check into, and I've actually already mentioned it to Superintendent Colbert. There's a program called T-Chat. It's the Texas Child Health Access through telemedicine. Actually, it's through the UT system, from what I understand, and a lot of school districts have been giving, they have been funded. The state has actually given funding to it, but it gives a lot of school districts access for students for mental health resources. And from what I understand, after Uvalde, they've given even more money, so it's really funded. So I think it's both good for HCDE, and since HCDE holds a lot of conferences through Safe and Secure Schools, I thought it was a good resource to make sure that it's a preventative resource, since our state legislators doesn't seem to want to do some things on the other side, but that's a different topic. But that was one program. And then another program she brought to my attention was a program called Community Schools. It's a program that Austin, from what I understand, Austin ISD does it. HISD is doing a test run where basically schools are serving as a community resource to the communities around them. And I was thinking, some of our schools, we do a little differently, but maybe some of our Head Start programs that are in communities is a possible program where we actually can serve as a resource to some of those areas. So I had a chance to do that. I was glad to meet with Dr. Moore, and I thought those were some great suggestions. I just figured I'd bring it to the body. I know we're doing plenty around here, so I just, something else to throw on your plate. No, but I just want to make sure that I thought that, we always look for different ways to help and continue to make sure that we continue to make an impact. So I thought those were something I thought worth bringing to the body. So thank you. That's it for me.
Actually, you brought up something that made me think of a question for the Center for Educator Success. I don't know if maybe Mr. Colbert can answer it, but I did take some time to look at all the art that was displayed downstairs in the lobby, and wow, it's just amazing. And I can't remember the second time who I was walking around with, but it was pointed out that the majority of the artwork comes from private schools, maybe some charters. I wanted to hear from the administration or from the division what we could do to reach out to encourage all of the school districts to participate more fully, or if we're doing something about that.
Mr. Graves, you want to come up and talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So that has been one of. Oh, come all the way forward. Yes. Okay. I too share that same goal and vision, and has been for the last 7 years here, and we've done very intentional work to reach out to public schools, and so I would love to share those numbers with you. I'll make a graphic for you because I think it's really compelling data. We've done a lot of work specifically in HISD because when I first got here there were only 5% of our total participation, and they're obviously the largest school district in the state. So I would love to share that data with you.
Before you leave, can you just speak a little bit to some of the work that you have done,
Sure.
some of that outreach?
Sure. So each year I meet with I invite the 25 school districts, both their fine arts coordinators and their ELA district level leaders, and I reach out to them until they respond. And so each year we have increased our participation by reaching out to them, having them come for an annual meeting in August. We give them the dates, we talk about it. They get to see, I've had speakers come, students that have participated in the awards, and teachers. And so that excitement builds in that annual meeting, and they get to see what a difference the program makes. And so, yes, I'm sorry, I was not prepared to answer this question today, but we have done a ton of work to get them, and then we reach out to them. I build in weekly Zoom meetings to answer the questions of our public school educators. And I wouldn't say the majority of the work downstairs is from private schools. There are almost all 25 school districts each year participate, and we look at those trends each year to reach out. So like if Tomball didn't enter art last year, we reach out that next year and ensure that they know about it and are included.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would just like to know if there's something we as trustees, superintendent I know has relationships with most, if not all, the superintendents. If
Yes,
there's
sir.
somebody's chain we need to yank on to
Yes, sir.
wake up some of these arts coordinators, or if it's
Absolutely.
getting stuck in the bureaucracy.
Yes.
And I don't want to put a blame on anybody, but I know sometimes priorities, need to be
recalibrated.
Yes.
Yes, yeah, and there are, oh, sorry, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I served on a committee, education, North Harris County Education Alliance with Mr. Colbert before I joined this board. One of the things we were promoting was a bridge program for high school students in Aldine and in Spring, and we just weren't getting kids to apply, and we finally figured out that it was what the communication wasn't happening at the counselor level, and of course, it kind of made me a little angry that the counselors weren't doing what we wanted them to do, but then once we got more information, we realized that they're just typically counselors are overworked and you know, they're dealing with other priorities, and so you know, we need to communicate that kind of information to the leadership at the school districts, because these are incredible opportunities. I know art usually isn't way up on the priority spectrum, but it can be the ticket for some kids.
Absolutely.
And I don't want to forget that you know, we need to do everything we can everywhere we can. So
I really appreciate that.
Thank
And I have witnessed this program change the lives of students, and so I absolutely appreciate that. And I know that there are several superintendents in Harris County and public schools that require participation in Scholastic. And so it's a matter of communication and building relationships, because it's not just through emails, and it's meeting face-to-face with those coordinators at the district level to let them know about the power of this program. And so that's what we've done, and we'll continue to do, and I will get those numbers to you.
Thank you.
The other thing that I would add is Ms. Seagraves is showing a great deal of humility in that, you know, the program at Harris County Department of Ed is one of the largest in the country. And we had a meeting with Scholastic probably 6 months ago where every other region in Texas is going in the wrong direction post-COVID, where our numbers are going up. And so I personally will attribute that to Ms. Seagrave staying connected in the right circles and the personal touch that she adds with these districts. I had the opportunity to go to an event last week, and you would have thought that she was a fine arts teacher, just the way that she moved around the room. And so she's done a really nice job of just adding that personal touch and ultimately convening the fine arts teachers and district coordinators together so that we can continue to increase our enrollment and participation.
One other thing, can you talk about what happens to this art if it gets displayed anywhere else?
Sure. Yes. So all of the students who are selected for Regional Gold Key, they automatically enter into the national program, and so they get to compete at the national level. And those who receive gold medals at the national level, their artwork goes to an exhibit in New York City, and they are recognized at Carnegie Hall in New York City in June. So as far as our regional program, this year it was here, and we moved it to the ceremony, the Wortham, and back here. So that was a shout out to our team here for moving all of that artwork. But normally it's either located at a prominent art space in Houston. So we've had it at both Spring Street and Texas Art Supply. We've had it at some smaller galleries. Every other year, for several years, we had it at the Galleria, which was really cool because that was increased exposure for students. We had some, like the manager of Saks offered to buy some art from one of the students. And so it's just looking for those spaces and building partnerships with community organizations that will allow us to be in their space and making it really nice for the students. So this year it was here and at the Wortham, but each year it's a little different.
Do we work with the Houston Arts Alliance?
I'm not sure. I don't know that I've worked with the Houston Art Alliance. Possibly. I've worked with the Art League of Houston. I'll have to look that one up. It's not ringing the bell right now, but you have contacts there?
I have a contact.
Awesome.
I know the CEO.
Excellent. I'd love
and
to.
He's very, yeah, I'm sure he'd be glad to help connect us, more importantly, the artwork and the students with
Absolutely.
Opportunities to be shown. And I don't know if all of the artwork is for sale, but I saw some pieces that looked like photographs.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then when
It's
I walked
incredible.
up closer, I realized it was a painting. I
Right.
was like, wow.
Yes, it's amazing.
Anyway, this is awesome
Yeah.
work, and thank you all for everything y'all
Yeah,
do.
Thank you.
Speaking of reaching out and getting more in touch with the community, I had the opportunity and the joy of participating in the annual Cinco de Mayo parade. It's been 2 weekends? Yeah, 2 weekends ago. And I saw lots of awesome floats and school bands and school dance troops and art cars, from representing schools. And I want to encourage our department, all of our divisions, to find a way to get involved with things like that. I know there's a Juneteenth parade coming up that happens annually as well. I think any of these kinds of opportunities to get engaged at the citywide level and big events like in downtown, but also, there are more community-specific parades and festivals and functions that.
That sounds like a float committee to me. Is that what we're creating?
Yeah. It was a ton of fun. Kids, I can just picture HCDE represented with representation from all of our divisions, our Head Start kids and their families, CASE, after school and summer program participants, adult education folks, just everybody, and just wanted to, keep that bug in the ear of the administration to try to get us out there as much as possible every opportunity we get.
Roger that.
All right. Any report from board committees? If not, we will move on to our monthly financial report. Dr. Amezcua.
I always clear the room.
I was looking if I could go with them.
All right. These are the April 30th financial highlights. All our information is posted on our webpage. The balance sheet as of April 30, we have assets of $38,190,391, liabilities of $3,038,281, and fund equity of $35,152,110. Our unaudited fund balance as of April 30th, we have $9,233,048 revenues over expenses as of April. A lot of that will be used up between now and August as we progress throughout the year. In our estimated balance sheet item for equity is $31,999,346. Our ratios, the first ratio is the percentage of fund balance to general fund. We're at 41%, very similar to where we were at the same time last year, 45%. Working capital ratio, we're even at $35 million as at the same time. The unassigned fund balance ratio, how much we have in reserves, we have 48% now versus 45% at the same time, slightly higher. Debt to income ratio, right now we're at 6.4 versus last year at 8.7. Last year, if you remember, last year we paid off some bonds that's why you have a little bit higher in 2022. Total tax revenue to total revenue ratio, important indicator, we're at 33% versus 34% at the same time last year. A lot of our revenue still has not coming in other than taxes. We get most of our taxes early in the year. That's why that revenue jumps up. Indirect cost ratio, we're at 2%, the same as last year. The fee for service ratio, we're almost equal as last year, 20% versus 21% at the same time a year ago. Our growth has turned around when we had, after COVID, out of our grants, fee for service revenue has gone up. It's a 12% uptick. In the, especially in the special schools, we have an increase in our contracts. Fund balance activity, we had early on some adjustments in September, 3.152,764 from the month of September to January.
Our budget to actual as of April, we're at 79%. Typically, we would be at 67%, so we're a little bit ahead because of our taxes collections. Overall, we're at 62% in terms of budget to actual in terms of revenues. In expenses, we're at 64%. Again, a little bit under the 67% of the fiscal year. Overall, we're at 64% in all funds. Our COVID, we have 443,000 general fund and 20,814, which at this point in time, all of these are committed because the board approved some of the incentives. So even though we have that already, we have all those that have been already committed for this year and then also for the following year. Our donations report, we have cash at 14,292 3.26 and in kind of 306,543 and 2 cents. For this month, we received donations for PMC, Head Start, Children's Museum, Head Start, all of them, Head Start, LaPorte, City Parks and Recreation, and Community Outreach Services. Our values, we started the year with 584 billion. We're at 580 billion as of April. It's going to be probably under the majority of that. It's already going to be realized. So we will see a slightly decline in an overall tax revenue for the current year. Although budget to actual, we've already received most of our revenue as well. So we're at 99.5% of budget. Even though the values for the most part played out and were certified. So year to date we're at $27,517,016, and we have paid HCAT fees of $51,533 for the current month, and so overall 99.1% of net revenue collected. This is higher than a year ago. Even though the tax was higher, we collected more than a year ago. We're at 99.9 versus 97% from a year ago. In terms of all disbursements as of April, we have 472 transactions totaling $4,396,946, 792 P-card transactions totaling $180,979, and 6 ACH transfers of $1,962,001. In terms of our segment information data for the Center for Educational Success, benefit variance tax subsidy of $985,924. Records management, $440,202. A lot of that will come in because it is 1 month behind in terms of the billing for records. School-based therapy services at $1,314,762. Again, that is intended to be at a ratio of approximately 85% self-sustaining. And then schools also $2,156,791. Choice Partners is at a benefit ratio of 196%. And so year to date, the transfer to general fund has been $3,070,027. We don't have any budget amendments for this month. In our foundation education update, we have equity of $650,393 in cash and in the educational foundation. Revenues year to date have been $5,000 for EcoBot, the $429,000 coming from the PIPE program from Harris County Department of Education, $27,310 on other donations, sponsorships of $12,500, and PIPE grants year to date as of April of $75,641. You will see a lot more of those later on in the fiscal year. let's see, and so here are the balances per program, total of 646,625. And so you see all the outlays in terms of scholarships, grants, sponsorships, and just overall disbursements from the foundation. In terms of the lease revenue projects update, year to date, later on in the agenda, there's a small business, and I just realized I left my small business program handout that I need to give you in my office, so I'll need to bring that over to you. But we're at approximately 30% in terms of the small business program, and the PFC and the maintenance note, we are at overall $21,200,090 left in the capital improvement program. Overall, 99% in the AV East, 41% in Irvington, High Point East 97%, adult ed 94%. Available amounts in the Irvington renovation, $10,049,878. That's the financial highlights report as of April 30th. What questions do you have? Okay. The next one is investments. Our investment report. Okay, all our reports are posted on our website. We have a portfolio in the HCDE funds of $60,540,922, and the PFC of $2,792,321, for a total portfolio of $63,333,243. We have 15% in Texas class, 29% in TechStart, 6% at Chase, 32% at Lone Star, and 18% in the Tech Pool. 94% are in our investment pools and climbing on the interest rates as those continue to climb. Tech Pool is 97%, Bank of Texas is 3%. That's where we have the remaining of the PFC funds for in Tech Pool, $2,792,321. This is a change from a year ago. A year ago we had $82 million. Now we have $63 million, so it's a difference of $19,641,361 that we've used as part of our capital improvement plan, or 24% from a year ago. All of our funds are overnight in our investment pool and are available for investment. And we've earned $1,274,244 in interest earnings. If you recall, this number was almost like $1,000 a year ago. Now it's $1,274,000. In the PFC, $234,324, which I know Rich is already saying, "Oh, I need that money over here." All right. So we're earning an average of 4.3, and the yield is 5.38 also. As the interest rates continue to rise, we continue to rise with the same interest rates, where it's anywhere between 4 and 4.8 in terms of the interest rates. That's the report for the investment report. What questions do you have regarding our investment report? Thank you.
We are now at the consensus portion of the agenda. Any board members, any trustees have any items to take out of order?
I think we skipped agenda I.
Oh. I think he needs some time to. Come back to it. Any items to take out of order on the consensus? Entertain a motion to approve the consensus agenda.
So moved.
Motion by trustee Norris.
Seconded.
Second by trustee Duhan. Any discussion? Not. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes unanimously. Now to the, starting with item 7.1 with the non-consensus, consider ratification of change order number 2 for the conference center upgrades, contract with Nash Industries, and delegate authority to the superintendent or his designee to negotiate, finalize, and execute change order number 2, extending the final completion date to 10/31/2022.
So moved.
Motion by trustee Norris.
Seconded.
Second by trustee Duhan. Any discussion?
Yes, I do think that the superintendent could just explain this a little bit.
Mr. Valen or Joe?
Yes, ma'am. The contractor submitted an invoice after the contract had expired, so this is just a formality to be able to pay that invoice. The invoice amount is within the contract amount.
Paying our bills?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes unanimously. 7.2, consider approval of CMAR work package number 1 with Duratech in the amount of $527,088 and delegate authority to HCDE superintendent or his designee to negotiate, finalize, and execute a guaranteed maximum price amendment.
So moved.
Motion by trustee Duhan.
Second.
Second by trustee Dick. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes unanimously. 7.3, consider approval of change order number 2 for C.A. Walker Construction for the High Point East. Proposed gym divider totaling $134,147. And delegate authority to the HCD superintendent or his designee to negotiate, finalize, and execute change order number 2 and approval of budget amendment to move funds from AB East project.
So moved.
Motion. Motion by
Seconded.
trustee Norris, second by trustee Duhan. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes unanimously. 7.4, consider approval of change order number 1 with Aries Business Systems LLC for the delivery and installation of the modular building for Barrett Station and delegate authority to superintendent or his designee to negotiate, finalize, and execute change order number 1, extending the substantial completion date to 8/31/2023.
Second.
Motion by trustee Dick, second by trustee
Brown.
Motion by trustee Brown, second by trustee Norris. Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes unanimously. Consider second reading and final approval of the following revised local policies: CPC local, DMA local, EHB local, FFBA local, FFH local, CB local, CKC local, FNG local, and FO local. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Got a motion by trustee Duhan, second by trustee Norris, by trustee Dick. Any discussion?
I'll just say that we did have a policy committee meeting over this, and there's nothing that stands out as particularly different than what it was. It was just really linguistic information changes.
I'm good.
Very good. That's a very accurate description, linguistic.
All right. If there's no other discussion, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes unanimously.
Those two additional.
Yeah, and so we have an addendum adding items 7.6 and 7.7. 7.6 is consider approval of contract award for Choice Partners job number 23/036SG for computers, hardware, technology devices, maintenance, and related services to the proposers offering the best value to HCDE and Choice Partners members for the period 5/17/2023 to 5/16/2024.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by trustee Dick, second by trustee Norris.
Specific motion.
This one here?
I incorporated it.
Oh,
Yes, yes.
okay.
Oh, no, for if somebody, you have it?
You want to read the motion? Read it, then I'll incorporate
Okay.
it.
Yeah, because it's a friendly, because he already.
It's friendly, it's friendly.
Yes.
Okay. To consider approval for, consider approval of contract award for Choice Partners job number 23/036SG for computers, hardware, technology devices, maintenance, and related services to the proposers offering the best value to HCDE and Choice Partners members for the period of May the 17th, 2023 through May the 16th, 2024, and delegate authority to the superintendent and his designee to negotiate, finalize, and execute contracts with the awarded vendors.
You need to list the,
Oh, and then the
Did you
bottom.
read all of those?
No, okay.
Yeah, you gotta read
So,
all that.
okay. And then I move to approve the contract award for Choice Partners, job number 23/036SG for computers, hardware, technology device, maintenance, related services with the following vendors: Apple Inc., Bass Computers Inc., Conference Technologies Inc., DBAS CTI, HPI International Inc., J1S Neiman doing business as Waypoint Governmental Solutions LLC, Kajet Inc., I think I pronounced that right, Linkverse Technologies Inc., Micro Integration and Programming Solutions Inc., Sand Dune Ventures Inc., doing business as Tablet Kiosk, and Waypoint Business Solutions LLC for the period of May 17, 2023 through May 16, 2024, and delegate authority to superintendent and his designee to negotiate, finalize, and execute contracts with the awarded vendors.
I incorporated it into my motion.
Thank you.
And I second.
We have a motion and a second.
I made the motion.
No discussion. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes unanimously. 7.7, consider election of president and one or more vice presidents for the HCDE Board of Trustees.
So moved.
We got a
I don't know, you gotta like name somebody.
Can we discuss this in
You
change?
can discuss it in closed session if you'd like.
Well, that's fine, if that's what you want to do. We can.
Yeah, I'd ask if no other board members are opposed, we discuss it in closed chambers.
That's fine.
Don't I get the hammer during this time? I want the plate too this time. Last year I didn't get the plate.
All right, so it's time for executive session. It is now.
Do you wanna go back to,
Oh, we're ready for that, okay.
You have a copy of the report in front of you, and this is a report of the small business program conducted by our procurement office. Basically, this is a review of all payments that were processed through our procurement department, procurement division. And the results are the total disbursements were $33.6 million for fiscal year 2022. From those, disbursements to small businesses total $6.8 million or 20%, 77 vendors. Disbursements to Harris County small business total 5.8 or 17%, 57 vendors. Disbursements outside of Harris County total $1 million or 2.9% or 20 vendors. We continue to outreach to improve those results through various working with chambers of commerce, annual supplier showcase, and outreach meetings that we continue to make. What you have the information behind you. You also have a classification where they're minority, hub, women-owned, or SBE percentages for FY22. The breakdown of that 6.8 million even further by the type of classification. Out of the 77 number of businesses, the numbers are identified there in a percentage. And the summary of the charts for within Harris County, the 5.7, 27% were woman-owned, 22% hub, 32% SBE, and minority 19%. Outside of Harris County, 73% small business enterprise, women-owned 12%, and minority 15%. And I think that's the rest is just the detail. Oh, I'm sorry, the construction as well. For the project for adult education is Paradigm Construction 38.59%. For High Point East, C.A. Walker 46.5%. And A.B. East, the percentage is 16%.
I have a question.
Comments? Go ahead.
I see this is in a pie chart, which would dictate that it would be out of 100%, of course. And I'm just curious, is there intersection between woman-owned and minority-owned, or did one of these categories supersede the other? And
it's how they were labeled in terms of whenever they submitted the information, that's how they identify their classification. No, we can go back and look at to see if there's an overlap in some of those.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Discussion or questions?
So it looks like most of these projects, roughly about 40% of them went to, some of these big projects, about 40% of them went to the SBP program mainly. Okay, and then those breakdowns went further into this pie chart.
Right.
Okay.
And that was for 2022. The first pie, the latter projects are year to date for construction. All the payments that have been made year to date.
So, I'm reading this, it looks like the majority of the businesses, you know, are the majority is either minority or women-owned. Is that correct, or am I reading this wrong?
Out of this pie right here, this is out of the out of the 33 million, 6.8 are, or 20% are a combination of all those four categories. The 6.8 is broken down by minority, SBE, women-owned, and hub.
I understand. So 20% are minority or small business, right? Is that what we're saying? Is that what we're hearing? 20% of the contracts we issue are small business?
No, 20% are either hub, minority, women-owned, or SBE.
Yes,
the 6.8, it's the entire pie. Out of that 6.8, 42% of that 6.8 are minority, 33% are small business enterprise, and 23% are women-owned, and 2% are hub, out of the 6.8.
So out of the total, our total expenditures, right, only 20% of that is small business. Would that be correct? Or am I reading this wrong?
Yeah, they're considered small business, also including women-owned and minority.
So the 20% is the program. The 6.8 million is the total program that we're talking about.
Okay, I'm getting confused. That's all. I'm just making sure I'm seeing this
Sure.
right. So out of the total expenditures we do, they're going through the small businesses, right?
Right.
Okay.
20%.
I understand.
60. So if 60, what's that? 65% of 20%. Let me see. What's that? Like 13 or 14%. That's women and minority-owned business of our total project, which is And for those who don't remember, the reason this came about is when Harris County did their study in 2019. This is when I asked what were we doing in this, and this is where this plan came from. So I think at the time Harris County's numbers were showing, I think all of their, for what I remember, all of their percentages together, I think minority, women-owned, and everybody else was maybe 5 or 6% of the total. So this is at least double or triple that.
And to the question that you had, 5.8 on the right hand here, you see it's had multiple classifications.
I have another question.
5.6, yeah.
If
Wait,
that's okay.
really quick.
Please.
Perhaps we could have a Venn diagram rather than a pie chart of how that interacts.
Sure.
Those are overlapping.
What I was wondering is, so out of the 80%, so the total expenditures is 33.6 million, right?
Yes.
20% of that is small business, right? So of the 80% that isn't small business, was it not able to classify as small business? Were these projects just not capable of being utilized by small businesses, or?
They were.
Was it a capacity issue?
No, it was contracts. For example, we contract with HISD. They're not a business.
Okay.
Humboldt ISD, or the city of Houston, or a San Jacinto College. They did not fall under the category of a small business. So therefore, we extracted those out because we cannot count them.
I'm just trying to understand the numbers, and you're doing a very good job explaining them. So what you're telling me is that 80% difference between the total expenditures and the 20% for the small businesses, it couldn't go to small businesses, just structurally it couldn't because it was going to school districts.
Local governments.
Going to local governments. So maybe another way to say this would be maybe 100% of the expenses that could be used by small businesses went to small businesses. Would that be another correct statement?
The ones that qualified, yes.
Okay. So I'd say if you're looking at this chart, it would be that 20% is technically 100% of those that could qualify under small business, right?
Right.
Okay. So then out of the monies being spent for small businesses, 42% went to minority. Isn't that correct? Okay. So then my response would be, what I'd note is, even though although the county is doing maybe 10% of all the monies we're qualified to be able to spend with small businesses, we're doing 42% minority, which is a massively different amount than 5%. That's what I'm trying to kind of get. For in the future, it's kind of confusing, this data. It is a little confusing because what it seems like is that only 20% of the money being spent for small businesses is going to small businesses. That's what gets me confused on this, when in fact 100% of the money being spent for small businesses is being classified as small businesses. So there's not a 80% within the first one and second one. It just gets me confused.
So mainly this is a subcontractors. The small business program is mainly for subcontractors is basically what this is. And this is mainly geared towards sub.
And keep in mind that this data, this pie chart does not include the construction projects, because those are separate.
You're looking at two separate things here.
Oh, okay.
This is a summary, I believe, but correct me, of just all district-wide procurement.
That's correct.
Separate and apart from our small business program.
Okay.
The second piece is the actual small business program, and that only applies to construction projects that are not funded with federal funds.
Got it.
And that requires either that the general contractor itself be qualified as a small business, or that they have a minimum level of small business participation through subcontractors.
Right. Okay. Okay. Believe we got it.
Okay. Thank you.
But thank you very much. I appreciate that. And as a matter of fact, I'm not sure how, but I think that this is this is another alternative for those who are interested in doing contracts and making sure that there are participation from the whole community. I think that was kind of the idea for this, to make sure that when we do contracts, that we give the opportunity for the entire community, and a lot of them do come through small businesses. So I think this is I'm not sure how, maybe if we can we can figure out a way to do some explanations, because I think this is something we probably should publish and let the community know this is what we're doing. We are employing people from the community, and we're giving, you know, of our contracts, this is how much is going towards these different businesses in our community. So I think that's a thing that we should be posting and putting it out there for people to know. So, but thank you very much for putting it together.
If there's nothing else on that item, then we will now go into executive session. It is now 2:50 p.m. and we will go into executive session under Texas Government Code pursuant to any and all purposes permitted by sections 551.001 to 551.0084, including but not limited to 551.071 and 551.074.
We are not doing formal Harris County. Who died? Somebody died. Judge Jerry Springer died, and now it's Steve Harvey.
Quiet, please. We are reporting back at 4:18. Let the record show we still have a quorum present. I have an agenda item to read, but prior to doing that, I just want to tell you how good it feels to hold this hammer in my left hand. The significant power that's thrusting through this hammer right now is tremendous.
Feels like Thor.
Yeah, I feel like Thor.
Like Thor.
Okay, Thor. All right, I have an agenda item, number 7.6, consider election of president and one or more vice presidents.
It's actually 7.7 under the addendum.
Okay, 7.7 under the addendum, to consider election of president and one or more vice presidents of HCDE Board of Trustees. Do I have a motion?
I have a motion to nominate and elect Trustee Duhan as president, Trustee Amy Hinojosa as first vice president, and Trustee David Brown as second vice president.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
So I have a motion by Ms. Trustee Cantu and a second by Trustee Norris. Any discussion?
I'd like to say, Richard, you've done a phenomenal job being president. And, you know, I commend you for, you know, continuing the torch. And, you know, just, I think you did a really good job. I really do.
I second.
Well, I would also like to say that in my career, I've been a superintendent for 13 years. I've had the pleasure of serving and working with probably 12 or 13 presidents. Recently, I've had this very consistent track of having some great presidents. It hadn't always been that way. I won't say any names. But I think, you know, it's evident to me that anytime we have presidents who are passionate about the organization that they represent and understand the theory of leadership and shared responsibility and civic leadership and public service, that the organization flourishes. And Harris County Department of Ed is certainly an example of that. Mr. Cantu has been a person that's been an advocate for this place far longer than he's been a board member of it. And those make the best presidents. And so with that, sir, I appreciate you. All right. Let's bring it to, I have a motion, a second. We've had discussion. All hands in favor? Let's see. 5-0, unanimous. Ms. Duhan, I would like to pass the hammer to you.
Gavel. Is that a
The
hammer?
gavel, I'm sorry, it's a hammer.
Thank you for knowing what it's called. I want to watch him do hammer time. Right. We should play that. We should have played hammer time. Do you want to take one? That would have been funny to do that next time. Next year we're going to play hammer time. Remind me. Hammer time.
He's gonna do it. Good job.
No, just.
No, up.
Yeah.
There you go, better. All right.
Okay, I just want to say that, Richard, you have been a wonderful mentor and role model, and the same, sorry? And the same goes for trustees Norris and Dick. I have really appreciated seeing the way that you've been able to do this. I look forward to being able to make a difference with you guys. Thank you very much, Trustee Brown, for being willing to take on that role. And it makes such a difference to see what we can do with this organization, and I am so glad to help be at the lead of this board to be able to make those differences in the future. Thank you, guys. We have an agenda item to discuss the possible action regarding future agenda items. Are there any? Do we have to make a motion for that? You said no. That's right. Okay, seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Moved by Trustee Brown, seconded by Trustee Norris. I see us adjourning at 4:23.
Got to vote. We still got to vote.
Yep, well, we're going to work it. We're going to get there. All in favor, say aye.
What is the discussion?
It's not a discussion. We're going to get there, see? All in favor, say aye. Passes 5-0.